1992, The Jacksons, An American Dream. I watch it's a holiday movie now because it comes on every Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Absolutely. I get to spend those
somewhere.
14-cent checks every year.
Ooh.
They're great.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I still sit and watch all 16 hours every year, twice a year. So you played Jackie Jackson
Right.
of the Jacksons. Is it difficult or is there more pressure portraying someone who actually lived and is still alive versus a fictional character?
That's a good question. And yes, when they're on set looking at you, yes.
Right, because the
Yeah.
family was there, right?
Yeah,
What was shooting that movie like?
That was amazing. The whole process of it was pretty crazy. The auditions were kind of Broadway-esque. I say that never been on Broadway, but from what I've heard, we had to act, sing, dance, and then do choreography. All of which, while I was doing sitcoms and stuff, wasn't really a part of where I was.
Right.
What my mainstay was. But the filming it, we filmed in my senior year of high school. And I actually didn't get to go to my senior prom because we were working.
Were you sad or upset about that?
Nah. I mean, it was the trade-off, right? Like, again, I got to be on TV.
Yeah.
So,
Also, prom is dumb. It's just a waste of money.
That's what I
fine.
heard.
You met Jackie?
I did.
Did he give you any pointers like, okay, here's how you play me. Here's what to do or what not
I
to
didn't meet him until after,
Oh,
which I was
interesting.
thankful for. But Jermaine was on set a lot, and Jermaine's son played him.
Right.
He plays dad. So, it was interesting. It was something that they, once we were cast, they kind of trusted us with. And then, a lot of the folks around, like our choreographer was Michael Peters, who had worked with the Jackson family, with Michael for years and years. So we were kind of molded into a lot of tape watching, a lot of, and then just the feel of the family. Like being around, some of them they're a unique family, man. So,
Yeah.
the largeness of celebrity that they had experienced for so many years was something that, even having been on TV myself for all my life, it was just, even in preparing yourself for it, I don't think anyone could wrap their head around what it was like for a black family to be that large for so long,
We have to talk about it. We have got to talk about you on A Different World. Dorian, oh my God. Oh my God. He was just so fine. He was so sweet. And as soon as I think about A Different World, I think about two things. There's a Tupac episode.
Right.
And I can't remember if this is the same episode or not, but the moment when Dorian told, Jada, what was
Lena.
her? Lena, yes, that he was celibate.
Yes.
That Jada's response was just so good.
Yeah, it was.
Did you feel like a heartthrob when you were on A Different World?
I was fresh out of high school. And I literally was just 18. Not really, because I was working, everybody on the show, I was the youngest. And, I was a freshman coming in, and supposedly, and I was a freshman. I felt like a freshman. Like, that literally was where my first year of college was, legitimately. I was going to UCLA part-time.
Oh, wow.
And I was working a lot with Debbie Allen. Actually, I was doing some apprentice directing behind the scenes. She was taking me through some courses of stuff. So I didn't feel like a heartthrob at the time. And it was always super difficult for me to parallel my life to the character that I was playing, which was very similar. I didn't have a lot of time to date. I didn't have a lot of time to, and coming from set life to my regular life, I was one who was ready to go to a basketball court quickly rather than try to go to the mall with everybody else and chase folks. So, but that was a long-winded answer to no. I don't think I really did feel like that. No, because everybody there was a heartthrob.
That's
right?
true. That's true. I mean, you made out with Jada Pinkett for
Right?
Pete's sake. So tell me about your most memorable episode of A Different World.
Probably for doing it, and then the life that it's had after doing it was the episode with Tupac.
Yeah.
I think it was called Homie Don't You Know Me, and I don't ever remember names of an episode of any show that I've done, but that one in particular, because I was 18, he was this huge hip-hop star, and we were supposed to be at odds over character Lena, Jada, and he was great to work. I was kind of nervous, coming out. I was like,
bet.
I grew up on TV. I wasn't from the streets or nothing. The streets of, Warner Brothers Studios and lots. But those streets were empty because there were shells of houses. But he was great. He was really cool. He actually invited me to Poetic Justice screening afterwards.
Did you go?
I did.
Oh my
I absolutely. How could I not?
That was going to be my follow-up question if you said
Yeah,
no.
no, it was an incredible experience. He was great.
Yeah.
I was nervous that maybe we wouldn't get along. Maybe it would be, but he was fantastic. I learned a little bit of the depth of him as an artist, able to come in and work in something that was completely different,
There's lots of reboots happening now. Would you
Yes.
do a reboot of Dorian on a Different World?
Why not? For sure.
All
Yeah,
right.
reboots are amazing. I'm glad they're finally coming around to us.
I did see a bit of criticism, I guess, about all of the Black reboots that are coming out. And somebody was like, you know what, these reboots are great, but I wish that they would invest in new Black stories and new Black sitcoms and new Black movies. Does
Well-
that move you in any particular way?
Yes, it does. I can relate to that notion, but I think the reason that people feel like that is because we never really get this same sample size. A lot of times people would, people complain about, I don't want to see another slave movie. I don't want to see another. But the reason why I think people have that notion is because there's not enough to balance it. So
That's a good point.
if we are able to have new projects and then to watch shows continue to get redone, and they seemed to be, when all of the rebooting started, all shows that we weren't in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, I think there's enough room on the freeway for lanes of the new shows and lanes of paying respects and allowing the audiences to see where those characters have gone or can possibly, go to in the future.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
folks are still acting, that's for sure. Yeah.
Still out here.
Yep.
Still grinding.
Yep.
A reboot that I am living and absolutely holding my breath for is Living Single, aka one of the best Black shows, one of the best shows, period, of all time, in my humble estimation. I have heard Queen Latifah say flat out that Friends was just a complete ripoff of Living Single. Is that a thing that you have heard or that you feel?
I've heard it. I don't know. I mean, I know how people feel about formulas. Sitcoms in particular are formulas, or they have been. I mean, you take the Honeymooners, and without the Honeymooners, you don't have King of Queens. You don't
Yeah,
have Family Guy, and you don't have the Flintstones. So, I think imitation is the biggest form of flattery. It sucks because I feel like she felt and others felt like that as well, because we don't necessarily get the credit for the origination of an idea, and that's where the problem is. It's okay if you copy. It's okay if you borrow.
Just be real about
yeah, for sure.
So when you were on Living Single, you played the role of Ivan. This, as much as I love me some Dorian, I think that this may be my favorite role of yours.
Really?
Yes. And I mean, I'm watching the show and I'm young and I'm not fully like radicalized or woke, as the children used to say. But I'm watching this happen. I'm just like, this feels important some kind of how. It's so radical, and I hate that it is radical, but to see a young, handsome man chasing after Queen Latifah, who was gorgeous, but was not like conventionally like beautiful or whatever. You know what I mean? Like usually it's always like some frumpy dude who has like the hot wife or whatever. But here's young Ivan with his nose wide open, and Khadijah's like, go on somewhere, child, you're bothering me. And I was just like, this just feels different. And I was like, maybe I can get me an Ivan too one day. As I think about it, I feel like this show may have shaped the woman that I became. Not that this is about me, but if anybody ever wants to hear me talk about that, I'm around. What was the vibe like on that set?
That vibe for me was incredibly comfortable.
Yeah.
A lot of times coming in, doing, because I never had my own show. So I had the blessing and curse of coming in and fitting in. And
Blessing and curse.
yes,
fitting
because
in.
it's a blessing to come work with talented people. It's a blessing to get paid. It's a blessing to have those experiences, but it also, as a guest or recurring, you don't necessarily get the attention. You have to it's a machine already going. Everyone, relationships are established. Character arcs are already established. So there's not really a lot of time to deal with what you got going on. But that show in particular, there was one of my first episodes. I was trying to give an ad lib. The director didn't really know anything about my history, and she was like, "Honey, we don't really want you to, don't add your own stuff to it." And Queen Latifah said, "Oh, excuse me, let him go ahead and do what he wants to do. If we need to reel him, we'll." And I was like,
"Okay."
Yeah. So that was one of the,
flexing.
yeah, hugely, and I appreciated that immensely, and it changed really the way that I approached a lot of my guest work in that sense. That you get used to being told what to do as an actor, and sometimes you got to go ahead and risk it. I mean, sometimes it doesn't go over as well if you don't have her there.
So we have heard that you have a role coming up on a new project of Kenya Barris's on Netflix. Can you tell us anything about it yet?
I can.
Ooh.
I play one of his homeboys from his childhood named Broadway.
Broadway.
Love that name. Yeah.
That is such a black name, I feel like.
Right? Right? It stands out. It's based on his life, his family, his experience in the industry over the past few years. This show in particular, I can't wait to see, because watching him mirror his personal life with his large, beautiful family, and then the industry, the juggling act of a relationship, a marriage, and is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
The fact that he never acted, to be able to step in and I mean, dude is talented.
So Kenya's acting in the show.
Yes, he plays himself.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, he plays himself. So it was fun.
So speaking of Kenya Barris and the new Black shows that are coming out, what excites you about this new era of Black TV?
We own the perspective. There's a difference between being hired to be Black and being able to be yourself. One of the things that used to always frustrate me was looking at I did a show a few years ago where the characters were described, the breakdown was incredibly layered for my white co-stars. It was such and such is this and that, and the parents are this, they come from this, they do this, these are their thoughts. She does this, that, and the other thing. She's layered, she does this, sometimes she's upset, these are her thoughts. And then when it came to my character, it was, he's Black and he's from South Central. And I'm like, that's not
messed up.
That's not, Black isn't a character, and the being able to sit down and if you put Black people in front of a camera, we're Black. That's obvious. But that doesn't give you the layers. And I think what we're experiencing now is being able to watch us share our layers, and that's invaluable.